The birth sling was designed to support women to find comfortable positions during labour and birth that help facilitate the natural physiological process. My hope for women using the birth sling is that they can tune into their primal birthing instincts and choose positions that feel right for their unique birthing body. And while for some women, when left to themselves, this intuitive process happens naturally and easily, for others, they simply need to be made aware of the possibilities and to be given the chance to practice and familiarize themselves with different positions during pregnancy. This way, they can simply drop into their body when it comes time to give birth. This video will take you through a series of postures and movements that you can familiarize yourself with during your pregnancy. I will discuss some of the biomechanics of each posture and how they can facilitate the passage of the baby through the birth canal at different stages of labour. The most important thing that I want you to remember though is that when you're actually in labour, the last thing you should be doing is thinking about which posture to use and why. You really shouldn't be thinking at all. It's very important for the physiology of birth that we can just drop into our primal brain and let our instincts simply take over. Standing and remaining mobile is particularly helpful to reduce the duration of the first stage of labour and to increase the efficiency of contractions. While leaning forward into the birth sling, sway and move your hips. Step your feet as if you're walking and intuitively move your pelvis. With your body vertical, the descent of the baby is helped by the downward force of gravity while remaining fully supported by the sling. For added emotional support, the birth partner can stand in front of the woman and embrace and comfort her from this position. During early labour, it is advised that the woman remains well rested. When remaining in bed is no longer comfortable or possible, sitting on a birth ball while resting forward and leaning into the birth sling may be a wonderful way to stay well rested while also utilising the effects of gravity in this upright position. Ensure that your birth ball is large enough that your hips sit higher than your knees when seated, as this is a more favourable position for the pelvis to be in order to facilitate the process of labour. The supported squat makes optimum use of gravity and can be one of the most efficient positions for the rapid descent of the baby. Squatting with your legs externally rotated, that means with your knees pointing outwards, can also help open the pelvic inlet and create space for the baby to descend deeper into the pelvis. Be sure to relax into the birth sling as much as possible and allow your weight and energy to channel downwards. This position can be great to use in early labour or even in the final weeks of pregnancy to encourage engagement of your baby's head. By simply adding a yoga block underneath your sit bones while you're in a deep supported squat makes this labour position even more relaxing and easeful. By resting your sit bones over the yoga block, you now also have the added benefits of releasing your pelvic floor muscles as they are massaged and compressed by the yoga block at their attachment site on your sit bones or the ischial tuberosities. Leaning forward while supported by the birth sling and resting your head onto a birth ball or a pile of cushions can be an especially restful position to adopt. In this position, you may find it easier to turn your awareness inwards. This way, you can practice mindfulness techniques and focus on your breath rather than what's going on around you. You can gently sway from side to side, either during or in between a contraction, going deeper and deeper into the natural process with every surge. Lunging positions can help mobilize and create space in the mid-pelvis so that the baby can move through the most narrow part as it passes the ischial spines. This asymmetric position is also particularly helpful if labor has stalled or slowed down and the mother wants to get things flowing again. This position can also help get baby into a more optimal position should they be occiput posterior or asynclitic. When using this position, be sure to do both sides and to move and rock from side to side throughout the contraction to help the natural progression of labor. The standing lunge has all the benefits of the runner's lunge, but is particularly helpful if things have slowed down and you're ready to get things moving again. Standing with one foot on a stool allows the mid-pelvis to open and shift asymmetrically with the added full effects of gravity due to being in a standing position. Be sure to move through several contractions on each leg if possible. As labor intensifies and advances towards the end of the first stage, kneeling and being on all fours is often the only position a woman can tolerate or find remotely comfortable. Kneeling forward with the support of the birth sling makes this position so much more supportive and allows your body to drop in and relax throughout the surges. The kneeling position can also be especially helpful if you are experiencing back labor or if baby is in a posterior position. Using rhythmic movement of the pelvis in this position can help turn the baby into an anterior position. Ensure that you place a big soft cushion under your knees as they can become sore with prolonged kneeling. Additionally, many women find that kneeling on all fours is the most natural and comfortable position for the second stage of labor, which is when you're actually pushing and birthing your baby. As always, it's important to be guided by your instincts and to tune in with your unique birthing body. Sitting upright in labor is often reasonably comfortable for most women. The contractions are not as intense as they are with positions such as squatting and can feel more manageable while still allowing for the full effects of gravity on the uterus. While sitting in the birth sling, you can sway or circle your hips, you can lean forward on the upper part of the sling, and you can internally and externally rotate your legs depending on what feels right and what stage of labour you're in. If you are planning a water birth, I highly encourage that you consider having somewhere to mount your birth sling so that you can reach it once you have entered the birth pool. Using the arm straps to pull on while pushing and birthing your baby can be extremely helpful and productive. There are also many movements and ways you can utilize the birth sling between contractions while you're in the water to ensure that you're still remaining active.